Yo, 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 what's up? It's your boy kpaperchase, and I'm here to sound off. All right, so we got a lot to talk about today. So the last time, my last video was the tap in part one. All right, and we talked about tapping in, what it means, how it compares to being old woke, and we just had an introduction for the part one. So in the part one, I talked about all that stuff, and I also talked about tapping into yourself. So remember, we got to tap into ourself and know ourselves first, and then we could go to the next step. So the next logical step after we tap into ourselves is to tap into the community. All right. So you help yourself first, and then you help your direct people around you. You tap into the community, see what you can do, to see what's going on, to see how that you can help. So we got to do these things in order. Part three is going to be how to tap into the rest of the world. But before we start worrying about world issues and all this kind of stuff, what's going over in Africa and all this kind of stuff, we got to worry about our community right here. Once we fix our community right here, then we can tap into all that other stuff. But most people haven't even started with their self and they trying to tap into the world. So tap into yourself first. That was part one. Part two is what we're going over now. And this is your community, how to tap into your community. And I put a spin on this, and I want to name this video why we shouldn't tap into the conscious community. All right. So first off, let me go ahead and say this. I do appreciate everybody that's going out there, that's striving to give good information, that's out there in the conscious community. And I think that most people, when they started, they have good intentions. So it's not necessarily an intention to mislead people. Most people, when they start their YouTube channels and stuff like that, they really want to help, but something gets in the way. So what I'm noticing that we got a lot of issues in our conscious community that we really, really, really need to take a look at. All right, so let's begin. So, what is the conscious community? All right, so the conscious community is a group of minds that work together with the same goal. And the whole goal is to improve your community. But it's changed a lot. So, you remember back in the day, you might see them sometime, but you will see the final call people out there selling pies. You know what I'm saying? They'll have the final call. You will see people with microphones outside preaching. You know what I mean? People would pass out pamphlets. People would actually have meetings like community watch meetings and stuff like that. So that's how we used to have the conscious community. That's how the consciousness used to come to us. You know what I'm saying? Now it's different because most of the outreach now is done online. So I want to talk about the YouTube conscious communities because that's one of the main conscious communities out there. And I just want to give some honest feedback. So, like I said, if the shoe fits, then wear it. But I do think that most people have good intentions. We just got some issues that we got to deal with in order to make this conscious community something that could actually take us to a higher level instead of just doing nothing. You know what I'm saying? All right, so the difference is everything is virtual now. So there's no accountability. Okay, content creators can basically do what they want to do, cuss people out. They can be disingenuous on these YouTube streets and see that same shit wouldn't fly in the real streets. So that's what we got to realize too. There's a lot of fakeness out there, and there's a lot of people that's doing the wrong thing and just say whatever the hell they want to say with no accountability when they wouldn't do that in the real street. So that's something that we really got to look at because that's something that I have a real issue with. So a group of creators that speak out on issues, mostly facing Black folks and the disadvantaged people. That's what the conscious community is. But like I said, the conscious community has changed so much, and I think that a lot of times, they get infiltrated. Either they get infiltrated, they start doing certain things, and I'm gonna get to some I'm gonna get to some red flags near the end of the video, and we're gonna talk about some of the things to watch out for. Because a lot of times, you're looking for information, you're looking for somebody that understands you, somebody that you can grow with, or somebody that you might get their concepts that you click with. So that's the whole thing, the conscious community. And I do think it's enough people out there on YouTube and just enough conscious people that no matter what you do, you're gonna have a following. So you can have the most ratchet ass channel, and somebody's gonna still follow you because that's the way it is. So these conscious people, when you try to get that niche, you want to bring positivity. All right. So how do we know if we're getting good information? Okay, so let's just talk about what conscious is not. All right. So what is not the conscious community, or how do people that say they're a part of the conscious community, how do they fuck up? What do they do that's not really making us conscious? It might be further dividing and separating us. All right. So these are some of the things. Misleading people. What I try to do on my channel is I do give opinions, but I try to teach. Whenever you get a channel or a content creator that's just all opinion, it's everything that they think. You know, it's no kind of good information, it's no kind of sources, it's nothing. Everything is what they think. That's an issue because you should be teaching, not necessarily teaching your own ideology, but you should at least be able to cross reference it with something to let us know where you're coming from, where you got this from, because we already know everything is already here. There's nothing new under the sun. So whatever you're thinking, whatever your ideology is, you know, it came from somewhere, right? It came from the ancestors, your religion, or whatever. We just want to make sure that we just not shooting out the side of the hip. And I see that a lot when people mislead people, or somebody might have a group or something that they want to join, or they want you to join. So they're trying to get you to join the group, but they can't be objective and they can't see both sides. So what I see, especially what's going on with the conscious community now, people downplay shit. You know what I'm saying? If you're messing with the babies, you know what I'm saying, and people are downloading it saying it's okay, and you're still in the conscious community, that's no good. So that's something that we all need to band together and stop, because we're allowing these people to still do this. Like I said, we're on YouTube, no accountability. You're doing this stuff in real life. And then you come back on YouTube, oh, he's so smart. You know, he's smart. He knows what he's talking about. He's taught a lot of people. Yeah, but you're doing fucked up shit. So you shouldn't be able to be a part of the conscious community if you're doing stuff that hurts our community. That's totally against what the conscious community is supposed to be here for. And I'm seeing more and more of that, to where the consciousness is just turning into bullshit because people are following anything they take up for people. There's no accountability. So that's an issue. That's a real issue. And then the hating on people, the negativity. You're supposed to be a conscious, you're supposed to be helping your people. You're not just getting online to bash somebody else, especially because somebody else have a different idea. The whole point is we're all going for the same goals. You might be able to do something different than I might be able to do it, but it's up to me to do it my way, and it's up to you to do it your way. Because you have a different ideology or a way that you want to do it, that doesn't mean that I can't fuck with you. You just got a different way of doing it. If we all got the same common goal, then why can't we put our heads together and come up with something if it's the same goal? Who cares what you think, or whether you pray, or the Bible? We don't care about any of that. We should be able to get together on a larger scale. And this is what other races do. White people, Indian people, Mexican people, they stick together. And what'll happen is you have a job interview and you'll be more qualified, and you might even know the person that you're interviewing with that's a white person. But you know what? They're gonna hire that white boy, even if he's just out of college, even if he don't know shit, they're gonna hire him because they're gonna look out for their people. And that bond comes stronger than that bond with black people. We don't have that. What we'll do is we'll hate on each other, or we'll try not to give the brother the job because we scared we're gonna lose something. So it's like we fighting against everybody else and we fighting against ourselves. So yeah, we need to check ourselves on that, y'all. We got to get better on this. A lot of these channels, I noticed, you getting a million views, you getting all of these subscribers and stuff like that, but you ratchet. And it seems like that's what we like. The more ratchet, the more fast you can grow. And that's not right either. And then all this drunk talk, you know what I'm saying? You're a person of the conscious community. You're supposed to be enlightening people. Don't get up here talking bullshit, like just being drunk. I call it drunk talk because that's that talk that the drunk people be doing, like your uncle be doing. Yeah, man, we need to do this. We need no real direction in what they saying. They just saying shit and they just talking. And I hear a lot of talking, no action, a lot of talking. It's not even really going nowhere. a lot of talking, a lot of arguing, a lot of bickering back and forth. You know what I'm saying? And we got to get out of that, y'all. We got to do better than that. Got to do better. It's crazy. Then it's clicks. It's like people being clicked up, not clicked up for the right reason because I'm into this and you're into this, so we're gonna build together and we're gonna help create something better. No, you clicked up because that's your friend. And most of these people aren't even real friends, y'all. It's somebody they met on YouTube, but that's your boy. So you clicked up with them. So you can't even see when your boy do something wrong, or you can see it and you turn the blind eye. You got to keep your people accountable. Some of my friends don't like me because if they do something fucked up, I'm gonna tell them, hell, you can't do that. Or you can't, you know what I'm saying? Mess around with the kids. Or you can't, I mean, when you see stuff like this happening, it's every man's responsibility to stop it. If we turn a blind eye, how is that gonna stop them from affecting our children? So we got to keep people accountable. Keep yourself accountable. When you see fucked up shit going on, make them people accountable. Because what happens is it's all right, but when it happens to you, now you want to make it accountable. We got to be even all across the board. It's got to be some consistency with what we expect and the things that we tolerate, y'all. We got to do better. And then a lot of these channels, I mean, okay, what are you teaching about? You on here just bullshitting, and you just talking about something, or you just like doing some crazy shit, and there's not nothing that's really helping. So always have a go back to it. If you're gonna do a live, and I admit, you know what I'm saying, I prefer to do videos in live. I'm working on my live better though. But if you got a live and you ain't got nothing to talk about, just write you down some stuff, man, and have some points that you can go to. So if it gets silent or you get to the point where it's just bullshit or you ain't teaching nothing, you can have something to go back to. You know what I'm saying? Or if you don't have any visitors or any people on your panel that's gonna bring some issues, just write down a couple things so you'll have something to talk about. So you're just not sitting on there bullshit and nobody's learning. This is such a big platform and it's really something that we can use as a people to take us in the right direction. But everything that I'm seeing is taking us in the wrong direction. I'm just wondering, like, where did we go wrong? What happened to where all the clout chasing and stuff like that is more important than really getting our message across? And that's what happens. So it's like really, really crazy. So I want to talk about some red flags. You know, you're looking for knowledge. You know, you wanna go to something bigger than yourself. I understand that. Only after you figure it out yourself can you do that. So you want to reach out and you want to, you know what I'm saying, go to channels and meet people that have like similar values, similar things going on with them, right? So these are some red flags. They are not a part of the conscious community if you see these red flags, all right? Like idol worship. It don't necessarily have to be a superstar or somebody on TV. It can be a content creator that you see them as an idol, right? So because you see them as an idol, they can't do no wrong. And we got to get out of that because what happens is eventually, it happens to everybody on your growth. You're going to outgrow your teacher. So there's no point to idolize anybody. We all humans. You're gonna outgrow your teacher, and you're gonna get to the point where either you're ready to teach or you need to go somewhere else. So never idol worship any of these people because eventually you're gonna surpass them. If you're growing properly, you should surpass them. And once you get past them, it's always somebody else. So we don't worship anybody, whether they're content creators, movie stars, athletes, none of that. So anybody or any channel that you see that's doing all this idol worship, that's a red flag. Probably shouldn't mess with it. Clout chasers. I mean, we have people that like they somewhere else. You might act like you out of jail when you're in jail. I mean, it's just clout chase. You might take a fake picture on an airplane. I mean, anything just for clout. You jump on stuff, you insult people, anything just for clout. So this generation doesn't really care about whether it's good or bad. Any publicity is good publicity. And what I'm saying is, no, it shouldn't be like that. Show offs. You're always showing off your stuff. Hey, I got this money. I got this. I got that. I got this. I got that. Yo, rich people don't show off. So when y'all start meeting real people with money, they don't show off their shit like that. As a matter of fact, you keep your stuff on the low because you don't want people to know what you got. So that's a poor thing. That's something that, you know what I'm saying? We started, and that's what we do. It's like we want to show off everything. So that's an issue too. All right, my screen just went out. I hope y'all can still see this. All right. Then asking for money all the time, right? You need money all the time. Now, everybody that do this, now what I will say that people do this full time. So it's perfectly reasonable to give them donations because they do this full time. This is how they actually, are able to create more videos. So that's a cool thing. So yeah, always donate to your content creators that are doing good content. Always do that. But for somebody that's asking for money all the time, if they have fake foundations or if you're paying money for something like a school and it's still not built after 10 years, shit like that, then you probably know that that's a red flag because you're donating money for a cause that never happens. Do you get it? So that's not, I mean, after 5 or 10 years, you've been donating money to somebody. We should have the sense enough to know that, hey, I've been donating this money. It's still nothing happened, or this was supposed to happen. Nothing happens. You're still following a person, still donating money. See, that's the shit I'm talking about. It's just total stupidity. And I never get it. And I'm beginning to wonder about us as a race. Like, how intelligent are we if we're letting all this bullshit go by? You know what I'm saying? A sudden shift in ideology. All of a sudden, you talk about Christopher Columbus, or you talk about Plato. You know what I'm saying? You was against all that stuff. Now you're talking about that shit. That's like a shift in ideology. So my thing is, what made you do that shift? I already talked about that junk talk. Like the drunk uncle just talking shit all the time. We don't need to hear that. We can go on our streets and hear that. But we're tuning in for some good conscious information. We don't want to hear that drunk talk. We don't want to hear that hating on other people and other channels. We don't want to hear no false information. Sometimes it's just straight out lies. And we got to be able to tell the difference between lies and what's real. Now, any channels that you see that have anything to do with any of these things, that's a red flag. You know what I'm saying? We trying to live like the Egyptians. That's a red flag. All this Black Power shit, Black Panther, we already know they've been infiltrated. The Pan Africans, the polygamists, the Black Lives Matter, the niggas is making you vote. Hey, you voted, you can't have sex, or you don't deserve to do this. All that shit is a red flag. So just remember your red flags. Whenever you see anything like this, it's a red flag. Just use your thinking. Just calm down, get the idealization out of your head, and just think objectively. Critical thinking. That's what we're missing, and that's something that we got to be able to do because the people around us are able to do that and come together and work together and think critically. But guess who can't? We can't. Even the people in the conscious community, and we supposed to be conscious. All right, so let's see what it should be. So what should a conscious channel be? If you're looking for a consciousness, if you're trying to grow, if you're trying to grow yourself, get to a better place spiritually, know yourself. What are we looking for? All right. So what I always try to do is I try to give practical steps. I know I do short videos, but I put a lot of information in my video. So it doesn't take me 3 hours to give you some practical steps what you can do to improve your life. So anything that you're watching should always be something practical. Like after the video, you should be able to take that. After you watch a video, you should at least learn one thing. Should be damn, it should be one thing that you can take away from the video after you watch a video. So be able to take away one thing you learn. If you ain't learned nothing, if you ain't take away one thing you learn, I mean that's fine. That just means it's entertainment. It's not education. So now what they're saying is edutainment, but you got to be careful with that too, because to do edutainment, you got to have a balance. It can't be all bullshit. You got to throw some jewels in there too. And that's what I think. I think a lot of times they'll say edutainment, but it's more entertainment. And it's kind of misleading because if I'm going here to learn, it's not to be entertainment, but just throw some jewels in there too. You can teach and you can be funny. You know what I'm saying? And you can give a little entertainment. So that's something that I'm working on, to be honest with you. So yeah, that's what I'm working on, just working on that balance. It should also be an accepting environment. It shouldn't necessarily be a think tank so that everybody that disagrees with you, you putting them off the show and shit. You know what I'm saying? Or you muting them or you doing all this kind of stuff. It shouldn't be like that. If you're gonna have an open panel, then have an open panel. That means that you should be able to accept ideas that are other than your own and just be still be able to talk about it in an intelligent manner. I don't see that a lot. Don't see that a lot at all. And then a good thing to watch for is just somebody that's not afraid to stand on their own. It's not the easiest thing to get into. The conscious community is so clicked up, and a lot of people want to join that community. So they'll try to make these little alliances and, be fake and try to smooth with people and all that. But a real leader is somebody that's not afraid to stand out on their own. I don't make no excuses. I don't have no clicks. Everything that K Paper Chase do is what he wants to do. So that's what you got to look for in a content creator. Somebody that's not afraid, that's going to talk about what the fuck they want to talk about. You know what I mean? And still bring you quality information, still be able to teach you. So that's something that I'm trying to that striving to do. All right. Yeah, so that's the thing. A lot of these channels they're being infiltrated. They're teaching that bullshit. They're teaching the vision, or they're not teaching at all. They claim to be conscious, but they're taken up for all kinds of very, very evil people, and that's something that shouldn't be allowed. So yeah, I just want to drop these few jewels. This is my part two for tapping in, and this part two is just telling you why we shouldn't tap into the conscious community. That's the title, but we should tap into the conscious community. We just got to find out who's really conscious. And hopefully, by watching this video, along with the first video that I did in Tap In, you'll start to get an idea of what consciousness or being woke, as we say, really means, and the actions of a conscious person rather than the actions of somebody that say they're conscious, but their actions, do something totally different. All right. So yeah, this your boy K Paper Chase. Just wanted to get at you with this part two. I've been saying it. I was doing it for a long time. Just now getting around to it. A lot of stuff going on. But hey, leave your comments, questions, anything you want to talk to me about in the chat. And I'm gonna see you real soon. So thanks for joining and sounding off with K Paper Chase. Peace out.